Women's Health East, the Together for Equality and Respect Partnership, and Women with Disabilities Victoria are pleased to present this video. Equality is taking action to prevent violence against women with disabilities. Women with lived experience of disabilities, including neurodiversity, mental health and chronic health conditions, came together as the Experts Group to prevent violence against women with disabilities through the Margins to the Mainstream project. The Experts Group co-designed important messages about equality for women with disabilities. Julianne, a member of the Experts Group, presents examples from her lived experience with powerful calls to action to prevent violence against women with disabilities.
If I think back when we first started Margins to the Mainstream, I was terrified. I was terrified even to go onto Zoom. I'd never been on Zoom before. I didn't know what it was, and meeting people and having the opportunity to share our experiences and actually be listened to, it felt so validating. It was like, okay, what you're saying's actually important. It happened to a real person. And we all have been through some kind of domestic violence, but we're all very different, but we're all very the same. And I love the different aspects of it. Like, I'm learning a lot about, say, what it's like for a woman in a wheelchair. Things I hadn't thought of before. And we've become all so close and such good friends, and it's so good not just to be listened to but be heard. And the process of doing the 16 days, that was fascinating to me. Like even like the illustrations and the back and forth, and each and every one of us was important in developing the messages and how we helped each other refine them, and the whole process was amazing, really good. I loved it, yeah. I was like very outgoing. I liked being around people. And then as soon as I got into my first domestic violence relationship, the isolation, they start to isolate you. First it was with my friends, then it was my whole entire family, until there was only him. He would abuse me so much that I couldn't even walk and look up. I had to look at the ground, because if I looked up, he would think I was looking at another man. We went to the circus once and he thought I was looking at someone on the other side of the tent, and he actually took me outside and beat me for that. Or if I went into a shop and asked for some cigarettes, he would count how many words, and if there was more words than asking for the packet, I would get abused then. He would interrogate me all through the night until I admitted to things that weren't true, because it was the only way it was going to stop. And then he would say, see, there's something wrong with you. So then it became, I was too scared to leave the house. I was way too scared to speak to anybody. I didn't even have control over what clothes I was wearing that day. My clothes would be laid out on the bed, what I was allowed to wear. Cooking a meal, I was never allowed to just cook a meal. I'd be told what to cook. I wasn't allowed to go to the supermarket. The ingredients would just be bought and I'd be told what to cook. Being timed going to school, I had exactly 7 minutes to take my daughter there and back. If not, he'd come looking for me. A lot of kids, when they're at school, all they think about is what's happening to their mum at home, and they become quite preoccupied with that. After I left one partner, I got hit so hard I had bruising on the brain. And then like my thoughts started getting muddled up, and I had trouble remembering things, which I still have trouble with short-term memory now. But yeah, it gave me such bad anxiety, depression and agoraphobia that if the kids forgot their lunch, I couldn't even go to the school to give them their lunch. If someone knocked on my door, I'd hide. Like, I was terrified of seeing anybody, and that long-lasting effect hasn't gone away, so it still impacts my daily life. Because it's not always easy to leave, especially for women with disabilities, for all different reasons. It was a while ago for me, but I remember being only having a couple of minutes. We had nowhere to go, we were homeless. So I had 3 children, a grandchild, and my eldest daughter was pregnant at the time. And we would be put in a park and we'd have to sit there all day until 5 o'clock, and then we could go back in and they'd say, sorry, we don't have an emergency home for you, so we're going to put you in this hotel tonight, this one the next night. And we lived like that for nearly 6 months, just hotel to hotel. A lot of the hotels were really dangerous in dodgy parts of towns. And it's when you're doing that, you start to wonder if you've done the right thing leaving. Because here I am by myself, I've got no money, no family around me, nothing, and I have the responsibility of another 4 people, all in one tiny little hotel room, all going, we want to go home, we don't like it here. I think sometimes that can make you go back to your relationship, because you start to think, what am I putting the kids through? Because it's not like here's a refuge, all your problems are over. It's really hard. And it wasn't until I got right till the end where I said, I can't do this anymore. And then they found us accommodation. I remember once I was given my house, I was just put there and I was expected to know how to live. I hadn't thought for myself, I hadn't done anything for myself for a long time. I had no idea what to do with money, how to budget. I was never allowed to have money. I found it really hard going to the shops and making choices because I didn't know what I was meant to buy. Yeah, it doesn't just stop with you. It runs through the family. You've got to do the healing. For me, I wouldn't be where I am without a domestic violent recovery group that I came across. And they started teaching me the cycle of violence. And I was like, oh, okay, so it's not just me. This pattern that they do with being awful and then trying to win you back, and the honeymoon cycle, once I understood that, I never went back. Never. Because finally I got it. You want to live, you want to have a life. And I haven't up until now had that opportunity, but I think I do now, so, which is really good and exciting, yeah. Public announcements about how to leave for starters, because leaving is not something that you can just do. It can take a lot of planning, preparation. It's dangerous when you leave, very dangerous. Most women you see on the news, it's after they've left that, they get murdered or, terrible things. Because a lot of women in violence, their lives are so micromanaged by the abuser. It's really hard to find moments where you can get help. So I think things like on the back of public toilet doors, there should be like steps on how to leave and who to contact. Things where men don't go. Safe rooms in shopping centres. If you know the steps, safe steps to take to leave, I think that would be a big bonus for women. I don't want to be resilient. Who just wants to be resilient? It's like, if you're constantly resilient, you're constantly putting up with crap, aren't you? It's like, I don't want to be resilient. I just want to be like everybody else. so I don't want to be resilient anymore. I think having women with lived experience as mentors is really important, because the steps of rebuilding your life are tricky, and I think if people like us could support women who are just going through it, one, we could be a really good friend, but we understand the feelings and the problems that they're going through. And because we've gone through all the departments and all the services and all the red tape, we can maybe make it a little bit easier for them to be able to escape violence. Imagine a whole group of women connected together, thriving instead of just surviving. Awesome.
Margins to the Mainstream, Preventing Violence Against Women with Disabilities project. For more information, please look online at whe.org.au/TFER/margins-to-the-mainstream/. The project is funded by the Australian Government Department of Social Services. The logos of Women's Health East, Together for Equality and Respect, and Women with Disabilities Victoria are displayed.